Tonight, the government blames human error for the release of the Epping sex offender. Hadouch Kabatu enjoyed 2 days of premature freedom but now faces deportation. The government's promised an independent inquiry into what critics are calling a national embarrassment. Also ahead, the Met reviews thousands of suspected grooming gang cases as criticism of the mayor grows. The new tech in the battle against the rail trespassers. And
will he get done?
Oh, there we've got one.
See?
The yellow box cash cow, how just one junction has raked in nearly £500,000 this year.
Ow, it's just, yeah, it's not fair. You've got two yellow boxes. It's ridiculous.
Good evening. Hadouch Kabatu is to be deported in the next few days after his unexpected 48 hours of freedom. But confidence in the prison system is likely to take a lot longer to rebuild. The government's been trying to get back on the front foot this afternoon. The Justice Secretary David Lammy setting out a series of measures to apparently strengthen the system after the sex offender was mistakenly released from custody on Friday. Kabatu's crime in July prompted protests in Epping. Today in the town, that anger was reignited. Here's our political correspondent, Simon Harris.
Hadouch Kabatu's brief taste of freedom after a prison blunder has once again shone an unwelcome spotlight on Epping.
You go to the police station now.
Okay.
So you're under arrest.
This is where he was living in a migrant hotel and where he was arrested in July after sexually assaulting a 14-year-old girl. In the high street today, there was plenty of anger.
It should never have happened. It makes you wonder what England's coming to or Great Britain's coming to now.
How can you make a mistake like that? I can't understand it anymore. I don't know what's happened to the country.
Unbelievable, disgusting. Well, that guy that they released, we can't believe it, my husband and I.
Someone's got to pay for it because obviously someone's not done their job properly.
Last month, Hadouch Kabatu was jailed for a year, but on Friday he was mistakenly released from Chelmsford Prison. That evening, security cameras recorded him in the library at Dalston in East London. By yesterday, he was back in custody after police caught up with him in Finsbury Park. In the Commons, the Justice Secretary said he would be deported to Ethiopia as quickly as possible.
Mr. Kabatu's victims are rightly outraged about what has happened, and I'm livid on their behalf. And on behalf of the public, this was a mistake that should not have happened.
The Shadow Justice Secretary was scornful.
Calamity Lammy strikes again. It's a national embarrassment. And today, the Justice Secretary feigns anger.
Hadouch Kabatu was one of more than 100 asylum seekers living at the now notorious Bell Hotel in Epping. Kabatu's arrest in July led to a wave of angry protests outside the Bell. But one local group is trying to paint a different picture of Epping. A group calling itself Epping for Everyone has been tying multicoloured ribbons to railings to try to send a message that the town is inclusive.
Unfortunately, every time we put them up, they're cut down, normally under the cover of night, which is, it's very sad, and it's, we do this as a gesture of goodwill.
Epping will recover, I have no doubt. It's a beautiful market town. I've lived here all my life, and obviously I know the people of Epping are decent people, we're compassionate people, as I said at full council last week, and we just want to see things move forward now.
The council is hoping that way forward includes the permanent closure of the Bell Hotel. It's awaiting the outcome of a court case seeking an injunction. Simon Harris, ITV News, Epping.
Let's speak now to Pia Sinha from the Prison Reform Trust. She's joining us from Harrow this evening. Thank you very much for your time. Now, I know that you've had a lot of experience in the prison system, including as governor. It would be great to get your insight, because we've heard today about these enhanced checks, but with a system that seems to be buckling, can staff cope with even more added to their workload?
Well, that's exactly the right question to ask. The current crisis has meant that there is enormous pressure on operational staff and frontline staff and governors. So having been there myself, I know that when you have such a high-profile release and error, the knee-jerk reaction or the instinct is to put in more checks and more balances. And to some extent, I understand that. But you have to balance that out with what is possible and what can be done realistically. And adding more checks and more balances and increasing the pressure on a beleaguered staffing group, I would suggest is not really going to tackle the problem. It needs a more fundamental root and branch review.
Those of us who've had no experience of this system, I think we think it should be quite simple. You know, you release someone who should be released, you move someone somewhere else. In this case, he should have gone to an immigration detention centre. But can you give us an insight into perhaps how complicated the procedures for moving prisoners around actually are?
Yeah, so part of the reason this has become complicated, so sentence calculations are actually quite complex. But in the last few years, there have been so many additional release points that have been added to the complexity that offender management staff are probably grappling with which license conditions, which release points, what to do, and that increases the margin for error. And these calculations are done by staff that are trained. They're not done by, prison officers. They're done by offender management staff that are properly trained to do these calculations. But what it appears to be the case is that his sentence was calculated based on the 12-month sentence that he was given. And what I'm wondering is that were the right markers put in place so that it stopped him from being released as a normal prisoner, and should have in fact been triggering something else, which said that he had to go to an immigration removal centre, for instance. But the bottom line is that these pressures cause these errors to happen.
Pia, one prison officer has been suspended, and today we heard that in the Commons that it was apparently all down to human error. But surely one person can't be responsible for this kind of thing. Does that not itself point to a systemic problem here?
Exactly right. So one person, and the person who was doing the discharging on that day is not the person who does the sentence calculation. In the morning of the day, they're given a list of people that need to be released. And that person's job is to make sure that the release happens in the right possible way. So if they're giving a piece of paper that says that this person has to be released today, their job is to simply make sure that happens. The process of how the sentence was calculated, why it was that the right flags weren't there, that stopped the release from happening, these are all subject to the investigation which are going to be happening, which has been commissioned already, and then we will find out. But it isn't, as you say, the responsibility of one member of staff. This is a procedural issue that needs to be looked at.
OK. Pia Sinha from the Prison Reform Trust, thank you very much for your time this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's go back to Simon now. Simon, this is toxic for the government, isn't it? But to add to that, today we heard that billions of pounds are being squandered, apparently, on asylum accommodation.
Yes, the timing could hardly be worse. In the immediate aftermath of Kabatu's inadvertent release comes this damning report from a committee at the House of Commons, the Home Affairs Select Committee, which, as you say, reports that billions of pounds of taxpayers' money has been squandered on asylum accommodation in hotels, and it's all down to Home Office mismanagement. The Prime Minister said he was angry and frustrated and blamed the mess on the previous government. Labour has promised to end the use of hotels for asylum seekers by the end of this Parliament, but it's by no means clear how that's going to be achieved. So there's certainly increased pressure on ministers, and the Kabatu case hasn't helped. In the Commons, David Lammy announced that there would be an independent inquiry chaired by Dame Anne Owers, a former senior officer at the Met, into what happened. As you said, he hinted that it was caused by human error and that prison officers will now have to use a new, even more thorough checklist before prisoners are released the night before.
Wow, OK, Simon, thank you. The rapper Getz has been remanded in custody and will appear at the Old Bailey next month, accused of causing the death of a 20-year-old man by dangerous driving. Yubin Tamang, a student in the UK, died after being hit by a car earlier this month. Getz, whose real name is Justin Clark Samuel, appeared at Barkingside Magistrates Court this morning. He'll next attend court in November for a plea hearing. And one of London's most prolific shoplifters has been jailed for more than 3 years after stealing £16,000 worth of goods from stalls in Waltham Forest. Mark Stavrou targeted the same Morrison's and Sainsbury's stores more than 100 times, threatening staff. The Met says officers are now solving twice as many shoplifting cases as this time last year. Well, another scandal dogging the government re-emerged closer to home today. The Metropolitan Police is reviewing thousands of cases of suspected child sexual exploitation. Helen Keenan is at Scotland Yard for us now. Helen, what is actually happening?
Well, until now, conversation around grooming gangs is centred in other parts of the country, but now authorities will review child sexual exploitation cases here in the capital. Now, 9,000 cases over a 15-year period are going to be looked into again by the Metropolitan Police, and that comes after a national independent review looking into grooming gangs that were found to be more widespread, organised and underreported. Now, the Met has said many of its cases did not fit what they call the common definition of a grooming gang. So it will now include, for example, cases within families, peer-on-peer abuse and exploitation within institutions. Now, today, Reform leader and Clacton MP Nigel Farage was critical of both the Mayor and the Met, saying that they've been denying that grooming has been going on in London. And Sir Sadiq Khan has also been accused of stonewalling questions on this issue earlier this year.
Gangs have we got in London?
So the situation in London in relation to young people being groomed is different to the parts of the country. So what we have in London is young people being groomed, use your words, not mine, to be using county lines in relation to sometimes...
OK, let me make it clear.
Can she define what she means by that?
Yes, if you look at what's gone on in Rotherham, where there are people taking young girls, grooming them for sex.
Well, in a statement, the Mayor of London has said any gangs exploiting children for sex are utterly abhorrent. The Met have increased the numbers of arrests of vile perpetrators and are also now reassessing historic cases of child sexual exploitation in London. And the Met has been asked to leave no stone unturned in pursuing justice. Well, the Met have said they have made significant improvements, including training for 11,000 frontline officers and the expansion of their teams. And in the last year, they've solved 3 times more cases of child sexual exploitation, and that it takes all allegations seriously.
Helen, thank you. Still to come on the programme. Into the box and out of pocket, the junctions costing drivers thousands of pounds every day. But first, jail sentences for trespassing on the railways are relatively rare, but earlier this month a man was given an 8-week sentence, an indication of the chaos that Anthony Andre caused when he wandered onto the tracks by Clapham Junction. 38 trains were affected, causing 57 hours worth of delays. Now, with Network Rail saying trespassing is on the rise, we've been finding out how the police are using new technology to try to tackle it, as Tony Green has been finding out.
Remote controller location set as home point.
They're more famous for bringing airports to a standstill, but these drones are actually keeping the trains running. They're used by British Transport Police to investigate trespass on the line, one of the main causes of rail disruption. Dozens of drones across the network keep boots off the ballast. They're even armed with night vision cameras and heat sensors. Technology like this are eyes in the sky, seeing who's on the line and where, and what to do about it.
People take shortcuts, people are attracted to the railway for other reasons, and of course we do have vulnerable people that do come onto the railway. So there's a range of incidents, and that's why that's so good, because we can find people that are hiding, we can find people that are walking, and we can find people that are at risk to themselves. Railway is a very remote location, and there are parts that are inaccessible, they take a long time to get to. So the benefits of having a drone are that we can turn up to a safe place to set the drone up, and we can deploy it to those areas very quickly.
Incidents of trespass on the railway is increasing. In this control centre on the Brighton Main Line, staff monitor some of the most heavily used track in the network.
This is our operational centre, so the people that you see here have to respond to these incidents fast, time and immediately. Their primary focus will always be the safety of the individuals and the safety of the responders, but also managing the train service and making sure that we can get people from A to B. It's extremely difficult to keep on top of the situation. It's very difficult to predict where our next trespass event is going to take place. But what we can do is look at those particularly vulnerable parts of the infrastructure and focus our resources so we can focus those in the right places at the right time.
The modern railway still has old problems, but with the use of new technology, they can more quickly identify the problem and how to fix it. Tony Green, ITV News.
The mother of Caroline Flack has told ITV News she doesn't believe anything has changed for people in the public eye despite her daughter's death. Christine Flack was speaking ahead of a new documentary on Disney Plus in which she tries to find out more about the months leading up to the presenter taking her own life in 2020.
I come here and you have different moods when you're here, don't you? That day I must have felt really not as good. I just put, another lonely year has passed. I missed you just as much today as the day you left. I'm doing my very best to tell the world what some awful people drove you to. I won't give up. Love you with all my heart.
Before her death, Caroline Flack had stepped down from hosting Love Island after being charged with assaulting her partner. Christine Flack told us of her frustration as she tried to get answers and what she sees as the continuing lack of consideration for public figures.
Do you think the treatment of celebrities in the public eye has changed since what happened to Caroline?
Not at all, no.
Do you think it needs to?
All attention is fine, you know, they're sort of in the public eye, but it's got to be checked and it's got to be true. There's no comeback on newspapers if they tell untruths. As long as they say a source has told them, they can write what they like. And that hurts. That really hurts people.
Well, there's more from Rishi's interview on the evening news at 6:30. Here's a look at what else is in the programme with Mary.
Coming up at 6:30, the Justice Secretary announces extra checks in prisons across England and Wales after a sex offender was accidentally released. Hadouch Kabatu was finally caught by police yesterday after 3 days on the run. Now the government announces what it will do in response to the embarrassing mistake. Catastrophic warnings of life-threatening flooding in Jamaica tonight as the island braces for one of the strongest ever hurricanes to hit. And the King pays tribute to lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender military personnel with a new memorial. Would you join me for those stories and more at 6:30?
Now, it's being called Britain's most lucrative yellow box junction. Misjudge this particular bit of road even for a second and you could end up with a fine of £160. So many drivers are falling foul of this particular stretch of Kingston upon Thames. It's brought in nearly £500,000 for the local council this year. But as Rags Martel reports, other areas are not far behind.
It's a yellow box junction. But for the council, this road is paved in gold. Stopping here gets you a fine of £160, and this tiny stretch on the Kingston Road is reportedly the most profitable in the UK, making the council £450,000 in just 8 months. Do you think that's fair?
No, it's not. It's an absolute nightmare, this road. Absolute nightmare. It's not fair. You've got two yellow boxes. It's ridiculous.
They've made £500,000 in 8 months.
That's all they're interested in, is earning money. Just earning money.
I think it's in a really awkward position. You have to rely on somebody else stopping to let you out. And it's another money maker for the council.
How upset do you see the motorists?
Yeah, there's a lot of tooting and a lot of shouting. 42 years.
Roland Head is a butcher whose shop faces the junction.
During the rush hour in the morning, 2, 3, 4 people getting caught. Wow. Well, it traps people and they can't get out. It's just wrong.
You should know that you can't drive onto a box junction.
Introduced to keep traffic flowing, yellow box junctions have never been popular with drivers.
Because if you block the junction, you will be liable to a heavy fine.
This yellow box junction first appeared 10 years ago, but Kingston only started issuing penalty notices in 2020. After fines were introduced, the council actually added this bollard, and people around here say this acts like a trap for cars trying to drive out of the yellow box. Accidents like this one yesterday are common, apparently. But it's not just Kingston cashing in. According to the Times, these yellow grids have made London councils more than £1 million so far this year.
Whenever a box junction generates an awful lot of money, it usually implies there's something wrong with it. It's not making sense to drivers, they're being caught out.
Kingston dispute the claim that this is the highest generating junction, saying the numbers combine a couple of yellow boxes on the same road. The council added that these 2 yellow box junctions are in place to prevent traffic from blocking each junction and improve safety for all road and pavement users.
Oh, there we've got one.
And while we're filming in the butchers, yet another car appears to be stuck on the yellow box junction.
Was that another one?
He got done. He was done.
Rags Martel, ITV News, Kingston.
A happy update now on a story we've told you about before. The family of a boy who was thrown from London's Tate Modern Gallery has said he has achieved his goal of being able to run, jump and swim again. The French child, who was 6 at the time, was on holiday with his parents in 2019 when it happened. He survived the 100-foot fall but suffered life-changing injuries. He is now making good progress. The first of an extra 10 new Elizabeth Line trains have gone into production. They're being built in the East Midlands to increase capacity on the line. An average of 800,000 journeys are made each day. The new trains will also serve Old Oak Common as part of plans for HS2.
We're working very closely with the team at HS2, Mark Wild, the CEOs, ex-TfL, know each other very well. We're working very hard with them and Network Rail to see how work can be phased so that we could get the Western station open. We're very keen to start serving that as soon as we can with the Elizabeth Line trains, which of course these 10 are going to be critical for.
Now, it's the prestigious award celebrating people from African, Caribbean and African American heritage. The Powerlist has been won by some hugely inspirational figures. Think Sir Lewis Hamilton, writer Mallory Blackman and businesswoman Dame Sharon White. Topping the list this year is the Bank of England's Chief Financial Officer, Afua Che, and I'm delighted to say that she is here and she is joined by the CEO of the Powerlist itself, Michael Eboda. Thank you both so much for coming in. Afua, what is it like being called the most influential black person in Britain? What an accolade.
Thank you. I feel incredibly honoured, and it is very humbling when I think about all the wonderful people who've topped the Powerlist in the past, to find myself at the top of a list with such incredible people like Ian Wright, Idris Elba, and so many other people excelling in their fields, feels very, very special.
You are in incredible company, and of course, it's lovely on a personal level, isn't it? But actually, it's about more than that, isn't it? It's about the ripple effect that this creates through society.
Yes, to me, what I love about the Powerlist is that it is showcasing black leadership across a multitude of different sectors and industry. And it is showing that there are leaders in a whole range of different fields. And what it's doing is it's effectively writing the achievements of black talent and black leaders into history. In the past, what we've seen time and time again is that the achievements of black talent aren't necessarily recorded, and therefore it's hard to point to the role models. They're absolutely there. And what the fantastic thing that the Powerlist does is it showcases them so that young people can look up and say, if they can do it, I can do it.
Yes, and that is what's so important, isn't it? Michael, how important is it that Afua is from a financial background? That's kind of very important here, isn't it? Because we see people, actors, songwriters, musicians, sports people, we see those people all the time. But this is a sector, it's an important sector. We need to recognise that, don't we?
Absolutely. So when we first started the Powerlist, it was always our aim to showcase what we call normal role models, people who are doing jobs that pretty much anybody who applies themselves in the right way can get to do. So to become a Premiership striker is extraordinarily difficult. To become a Hollywood movie star is extraordinarily difficult. To become a lawyer, to become a doctor, are things that are within the grasp of most people if they apply themselves. So they go to school, they stay in school, they get their exams, they go to university. A lot more people can achieve those kind of professions than will ever become. I think that the stats, even for kids who are in academies, is like 0.001% of them will ever become a professional footballer.
Afua, we saw you there in some pictures, absolutely beaming, getting your award, and you're still beaming now. Just a word for somebody like me who doesn't really know much about finances, interest rates, mortgages, maybe, yeah, but my notes here, I've written down that you're in charge of £1 trillion balance sheet. What? I don't even know what that means.
So, yes, so the Bank of England's balance sheet peaked at 1.1 trillion during the pandemic. And what we have done since is we've started to unwind the balance sheet. So it's effectively reversing quantitative easing, where we put a lot of money into the economy to help everyday people.
I mean, I don't even know how you sleep at night, having to hold all of those numbers in your head. I mean, I guess possibly the best thing, I suppose, would be if in 15, 20 years' time, somebody came up to you and said, you know what, Afua, I saw you on that power list, and now I'm in the Bank of England, or something like that. Would that be the ultimate accolade?
I love the fact that the power list has showcased this year somebody from the public sector. I think that this is really great for public sector contribution to be recognised in such a high-profile way. And I love the fact that I am from the private sector and then 6 years ago joined the Bank of England as a Chief Financial Officer. And I would love it if young people would consider public sector roles as well as roles in finance and know that they can get to the very top.
Well, I think you will have inspired them. Congratulations, and congratulations on 20 years of the list. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
OK, let's have a look at the weather now. Here's James Wright.
Come rain or shine, Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
Hi there, good evening. Not a bad start to the week. Some nice sunshine around, a little bit on the breezy side, and it'll be breezy at times through the week ahead. Certainly quite a changeable feel to the weather. There will be rain, there will be showers, but at least it remains mild. Warm front drifting past us overnight, and then towards the end of the night the cold front goes through. Quite a few hefty showers there. More showers for the middle part of the week. Then Thursday starts off nice enough, but then this low pressure system hones into view, so more heavy rain and the return of stronger winds. Overnight then we're going to see the cloud building from the west. The warm front drifts through. Not a great deal of rain on there, a little bit of drizzle. Then we clear up for a while before that second front drifts through. That's the cold front. Notice how there's not a lot of rain on there, just a few showers that even those could be slightly on the sharp side. Temperature-wise, 9 or 10 Celsius the low. Quite a breeze out there and a little bit gusty at times too. So tomorrow then, not dissimilar from today. Some nice sunshine out there to enjoy. Again, a little bit blowy, certainly during the early hours of the day. Sunny spells for the bulk of Tuesday. There's a possibility that 1 or 2 of those showers could nudge back up into southern parts of the capital. But look at the temperatures, 14, 15 Celsius, tempered by the breeze, but on paper, very nice indeed. Tuesday into Wednesday sees, well, this waving front. So yes, we might see those showers backing forth over us. Temperature-wise 14 Celsius, so still pleasant enough, assuming you can stay out of the showers. And as far as Thursday go, nice dry start, but wet and windy weather heading our way for later.
Octopus Energy sponsors ITV London weekday weather.
And that's it from us. The evening news is next with Mary, but for now, from all of us, do enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.